Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time stopping in. Today we are doing the next chunk of my deck collection series. This is a bit of a collection review, sharing, a little bit of analyzing to see if everything in a particular category of decks needs to stay, or if I should consider maybe passing it along in the future, putting it into purgatory, etc. So this is a bit of a collection and declutter. But first, hello, if you're new here, my name is Lisa. I am a tarot deck creator, author, all the things, as well as a content creator on YouTube, but I do make things and write things. So I will throw a graphic up on the screen so you can check out where you can find my work out in the world. And with that said, let's get into it. So this is in no particular order, and there is a handful of things in this video that will be out of print, and I apologize in advance, but this is how it goes. I have some out of print things. This is my historical air quotes section of my collection, and I call it that because these are decks that have that old feel, a vintage, I guess you could say, kind of. They're not all old decks, but they feel that way, if that makes any sense. There's something about them that gives it that kind of historical vibe. I don't know. This is my grown-up deck section. It's the smallest in my collection because this is not an area where I want a lot of things. It's not my usual aesthetic. So the things I have here, I want to keep because they're good things that I genuinely enjoy them and find them useful. So I'm going to try to be really kind of harsh with what stays and what goes in here within reason. So in no particular order, we're going to start with some out of print stuff. So don't freak out. The first deck we're going to talk about is the Tarot of Delphi. Now, when it comes to sort of decks that have this particular style of art, this is very, very out of print and it's very hard to get, and I'm sorry, but this one has been my favorite. There's been a couple of others that have come in and been oh, I kind of like their choices in the art better. That kind of thing has happened, but I always come back to this one. There's something about it. It just feels very well done to me. It's really beautiful. This is what the backs look like, but it's got a lot of this older fine art, and it's curated art, but it makes sense with the meaning of the cards. This is also a collector's item. I don't ultimately know, it's never going to be one that I tend to read with a lot, but I really treasure it. I think it's really beautiful. And if nothing else, I absolutely love the choices made in these cards for the art. If I'm being honest, this is one that I might consider rehoming one day, but it's definitely one that I will not rush to let go of because I think that there's a good chance that, well, number one, it's almost a guarantee that if I let this go, I will never see it again. This was also a gift and something that was really, really generous and special. I had wanted this deck for a very, very long time and was so thrilled to get it in and have really enjoyed. This is one of those decks that I'll pull out and just literally do what I'm doing now. I'll just flip through it. It's so beautiful. So time will tell, but there is a chance that this might find itself making its way into my purgatory drawer and then eventually finding its way onto a new home. Today's not that day. I don't think I could bring myself to do that. This is just too beautiful. And again, very, very difficult to get back again. Ultimately, this is not the kind of art I crave when I'm doing readings very often, but this is the quintessential version of that type of deck, if that makes any sense. It is the one I think about when I think about this kind of deck. I don't think I can do that. No, I have to keep it on top. There is a really great guidebook in here that does give you a nice little message and some keywords, as well as tells you the name of the art piece, which is wonderful. So that is the Tarot of Delphi, and again, it's very challenging to get a hold of. I don't know that this will ever be reprinted. My box does have a few little dents and dings, but again, this was a gift. So this is one of those things where I'm I don't know, but I also don't not know. And I don't know, it brings me so much pleasure to just look at it that it's hard to say. But what I may do actually with this, I said I was going to try to be harsh. Okay, I think what I might do, because I adore this and I've gotten so much enjoyment out of it, I think I might put this in my purgatory. Nobody get excited, y'all, for real. Nobody get excited. I think I might put this in my little purgatory and just see if I miss it after a period of time. And maybe I'll revisit it in the future, and that's okay. Sometimes I keep things just because I want to collect them, and this is a collector's piece for me, but I don't know. I don't know. I might just set it aside, see if I miss it. Now, I do have the other deck by J.D. Hildegard Hinkle, which is the Majestic Earth, and this one is one that I've reached for more often, and I think part of that is because this deck has keywords on the artwork as well as the artwork, which is great. There's also these really beautiful landscape-oriented element cards that are just absolutely gorgeous. But I do tend to keep those in the back here. But the Majestic Earth is a landscape kind of deck. But there is actually interactions happening in a lot of these cards. They're just kind of hard to spot. But what makes this so infinitely usable is all these little keywords. So even when sometimes the artwork itself doesn't immediately speak to me, I feel like I get these other little like intuitive hits off of the keywords that are on the cards, and it's just breathtaking. Of the two, artwork wise, I find this one even more beautiful, but I think it's because it really does feel like it captures the majestic earth. But in landscape art, it's beautiful. Again, it's very grown up. I don't know how else to describe this kind of thing. It's very grown up, and so it's not something I really reach for a lot. But man, what it does so well. But you know, now again, as I'm looking at it, as much as I cherish this deck, and again, it's very hard to get, it's very out of print. As much as I cherish it, I wonder what would happen if I purgatoried it for a bit. This is such an iconic card to me. I think I might actually. I think I might just see if I miss it. You know, just kind of tuck it away and just see how that feels. Just for funsies. Because again, I don't think there's very much in this category that is going to ever be an active rotation for me. Okay. This is the exception to that, I will say. This is of everything here, there's one deck that has a very special purpose, which I'll get to when I get to it. This one is, when I think about using this kind of a deck, I always think of this one and I always reach for this one. This is the Fedor Pavlov. This is not historic art, okay? This is modern. It was a modern creator, but that's the quality of it I love. It's elegant. It feels very grown up, and yet it feels relatable in a way. We've got modern relationships pictured. We have different kinds of people. We have a sort of diversity that shows up through this deck. And yet it gives that sort of like beautiful old world feel. It's gorgeous cardstock. It's a pleasure to work with this deck, like aesthetically and tactilely as well. The book that comes with it is absolutely fabulous. I really love this. This is one of my favorites. And so as grown-up decks go, I'm just going to call it that. I should have just called this my grown-up deck collection. That's what it kind of feels like. But as that category of decks goes, I feel like this is so well done. And it's such an elegant, like, production value. The book is just wonderful. I love this deck. So that's Fedor Pavlov, and it's very, very safe in my collection. And I think very little here is. Okay, let's talk about another one. So this is the Tildwick Tarot, the first edition. This is another one that I think is safe for now. It's a for now. Again, I don't reach for this a lot, but when it's the perfect deck for that vibe of like wandering through like an abandoned estate. That's what this feels like. This is the original first edition of the deck. The current edition has been brightened and has a different type of cardstock. I love this first edition and never have had a regret about purchasing it. There's something about it that sort of slows me down and calms me down when I work with it. And there are times when I feel like what I want is a deck of indoor spaces. And even though there's some outdoor, this deck mostly feels like a deck of indoor spaces. And like I'm wandering through a property. There's something so unique about it. And this go well together. And also, we recently did, in my Unicorn Fam channel membership, we built a practice for the Mindscapes Tarot, which also is a bit of a environmental kind of deck. Like it's a setting, like you're kind of walking through a space, if that makes sense, in that deck too. And we built a practice around it that was really cool. And I want to test that same practice, but with this deck, and see how I feel about it. But for now, this one is safe. I could see myself moving this on in the future potentially, because it isn't something I reach for a lot, but it's also so unique and innovative that I wonder if this is one that I would miss, because there's nothing like it. There's certain contexts where I'm like, oh yeah, the Tildwick is perfect for that. Like it's just perfect for that. Like this is the King of Swords. No, excuse me, the Nine of Swords. And it's almost like this person's like in a prison. Like there's this tiny little window that's barred and they're kind of curled up down here. And we've got like the Nine of Swords there. You really have to pause and look at the card to understand what you're looking at. Anyway, it's very, very cool. So that is the Tildwick Tarot. And that one is safe for the moment in my collection. Another one that is, well, okay, let's look at this one. I can never decide. I always end up keeping it and I never, ever, ever use it. but it feels like the only thing for certain contexts. I don't know how else to describe it. So this is the Vintage Wisdom Oracle. It's a mass market, but I modified mine. I cut the borders off. I did this this is part of one of the reasons why I feel attached to it, I think. I distressed it with Distress ink to give it this like old world feel. And it just, there's something about it, but I never reach for it, ever, ever. I don't know what my problem is. And I say the same thing every time it comes up in a declutter, and then I never let it go. But in reality, I don't use it. I don't use it. I don't know why I keep it. I look at it sometimes and I'm like, oh, it would go really well with the Tarot of Delphi. But when I put it next to the Tarot of Delphi, it doesn't really. Actually, well, I'm not using the Tarot of Delphi right now. I'm like considering putting that away for a bit. I think I need to let this go. Truly. I think I need to let it go. It's just not as gorgeous as this is, but it's something that, yeah, I don't know. I can't. I'm so attached to it because of the deck mod, but I don't use it. It's beautiful. I love looking at it. I never think to reach for it. So I think it's not gonna go. It's gonna go into like a pile to be considered for chopping block later. That's how we're gonna handle that. Okay, I gotta look at some safe ones because this is starting to give me a complex. Okay, so this is absolutely safe. This lives in a special box that I've had forever and ever. This is the Mystic Masters Tarot by my bestie Danny Mystic, and it is incredible. This is my magic deck. Big Booty Judy. I do not pull this out and like do readings with it. I should more. Truly, I should. It's gorgeous cardstock. It's like the most shuffleable thing ever. This is the first edition. I know she's done a more recent edition. She updated some things. I'm just very bonded to this particular copy, but this feels like Danny in a deck. Obviously, it is Danny in a deck. And as a result, because Danny to me embodies magic in a way that's very hard for me to describe and define, but because she embodies magic, when I need a deck magically, when I need a deck to hold space energetically, I don't know how to describe it. I will pull this one every single time. This feels more like one of my sacred ritual tools than a divination deck in how it sits in my practice. There's just so much intention in this. It's incredible. You can still get Mystic Masters. It's not out of print. There is a current edition. You just get it directly from Danny's Make Playing Cards shop. I will link it down below. The amount of like manipulation she did to the original etchings, and then the layering and the textures and the stamped numbers, and like all like finding the perfect etching for every single archetype of the tarot. Like this was such a journey for her, and it was incredible to watch and see it come to life and all of that. And I just, yeah, so this lives in a special space in its box, and it is safe for sure. And then Danny's other deck, which I also consider to be very grown up, is her Pear Tree Court. I literally had to look at that because I'm like, it's Pears. What's it called again? Pear Tree Court. And it's funny because I'm looking at this now. I love these characters. They're so fun. I'm looking at this now and I'm like, number one, I could pull this anytime I wanted to pull that like Vintage Wisdom for sure. I could just pull this instead. The keywords on it are great. These characters are great. This actually reminds me, there's a show I watched with Don Michelle when I was down in Portland called My Lady Jane, and this now reminds me of that. It gives a little bit of Bridgerton too, I think. I'm guessing that's probably similar time periods, question mark. Maybe not, maybe it's older. I don't know, y'all. I'm not good at that kind of thing. That's why this isn't my usual category. But I love the like crackle kind of backgrounds on these. I just think this is so fun. And again, it's very Danny. But I think I'm going to do what I used to do and actually put it in the box. No, because if I put it in the box, I will not think of it unless I'm going to do magic work. I need to just keep it in its Pear Tree Court bag. This has always been its bag. I lent this bag to a different deck for a while, and then when I rehomed that deck, I was like, no, I've got to give it back to Pear Tree Court. So that one is, of course, safe. Okay, here's another out-of-print deck that is probably not safe. This is the Celtic Tarot. I got this because it's just beautiful. I put it in this bag just to keep the cards from rattling around in there, but this is I don't know what, oh, these are like advertising cards by the same publisher. Celtic Tarot, illustrated by Courtney Davis. So this deck was originally published in 1990 and then again in 1995, it looks like. It's really beautiful. It's very ornate and it's very like pippish. I'll show you. But it's really beautiful. It's got a like all this like Celtic knotwork kind of all through it. It feels very old world Celtic. It's gorgeous. And again, out of print. And it took me 2 tries to actually find a copy that was complete. It's so pretty. Look at it. It's so pretty. But like, I got it just to get it. Like it's almost like Marseille, but in this Celtic style. It's really, really beautiful. But I went through a period where I was trying to just look for some of these older Celtic decks, and this one snagged my attention. But in reality, I really don't think it's one that I'm going to work with, and somebody who maybe has been hunting for this might really appreciate it. So again, not rehoming immediately, but I'm definitely putting this on the chopping block to consider like letting go of. Which means so far only 3 are safe. Another one that is safe, I actually had to bring this home from work. And this one is also out of print. I'm so sorry, y'all. This is the Art of Life Tarot by Charlene Livingstone. This was originally published by US Games. And this has lived on my desk at whatever job I've worked at for years. Since I got it, literally. I'll show you the format of this and why it lives at work, but it's really beautiful. It is also fine art. And actually, of all of my like fine art decks, this one's the most usable because you get a title, so you know what card you're looking at. You get an art piece. It says right on the card what the art piece is, which is sometimes useful information or gives you extra context that can help you connect the two. And then you get a quote. It is so usable. So this is what the backings look like. This is from a Klimt piece, I believe. But like so, here's the King of Pentacles. Wealth stays with us a little moment, if at all. Only our characters are steadfast, not our gold. The Devil, a man should never be ashamed to own that he has been in the wrong, which is but saying that he is wiser today than yesterday. 2 of Pentacles. Happiness is not in the mere possession of money. It lies in the joy of achievement and the thrill of creative effort. And this is River Dancers by Edgar Degas. Or Degas. I don't know how you say that. So forth and so on. So you get a little dose of fine art. You get a beautiful quote that's thought-provoking. And it all goes with the card. With what the card means. And I've had some of the most incredible experiences with this deck because my practice with this is to shuffle and draw a card. I do it every once in a while. I don't do it every single day. Just every time I feel like changing it out, I'll shuffle, I'll pull a card. And the real magic of this, again, this is out of print and I'm so sorry. I used to talk about this deck all the time, but the real magic of this is that the box turns into this little stand, like so. And so I will slide whatever my card is in, and I always put it above this. There's a clear plastic thing here. I always put it above that, otherwise it's hard to get the card back out, because this way you can just slide it out. But I put it above, just like that, and then I set this up on my desk at work. And it's like my card of the day. And I love this practice. I have been doing it, like I said, for years and years. It is very tasteful. It's not very tarot-y, so it's very desk appropriate. This is the coolest, smartest thing, and I'm so gutted that they put it out of print because I think it's really useful. But it's also one of those things that I don't think it is common to see it. Like, I think from a sellability standpoint, it is somewhat limited, I think, in how people would use it. But this has absolutely been my favorite fine art deck of all time. It's been so useful. I've enjoyed it for years. It's my perfect work deck. It's perfect. It's going right back in my work bag to go to work. I just literally had to put it in my work bag to bring it home so that I could film this video, and it's going right back. I don't like it when it's not there. And then our last deck in this category, and I'm going to check because there might be one more that I want to put in this category, but is the deck of Emblems. This is the indie edition, so it doesn't have a guidebook or anything, but this is what the backs look like. This was such a fun one, and I have played with this one a bunch. I find it really fun to cast over this, but it's got like manuscript, what are these called? Images from manuscript, I forget what they're called, I'm so sorry. Emblems, I guess, manuscript emblems. And then these Latin phrases, and it is wild how appropriate they are for the tarot cards they represent. So the 5 of Wands, force that cannot be overcome with force. The Magician, master skills through great labor and diligence. 5 of Pentacles, a poor man fallen down. She obtaineth whatsoever she desireth for the Empress, etc., etc. It's very, very cool. And I have played with this and really enjoyed it, and it's got a very specific aesthetic. It is now available mass market. This is the original Kickstarter edition. And I think the mass market one does have a guidebook and stuff now. It looks really well done, actually, with a lot more extrapolation on things. But this original version, while it's been fun, I don't think I need to keep it in my rotation. So I am going to consider that to be rehomed. I actually have a home in mind for it. So I probably will not put this in purgatory or put it back up later. I think I'm going to send this along to the home that I think I want it to be in. Okay, so that means that I have now 4 things in this category, well 5, counting Mystic Masters, that are safe and staying. The other items, so this is Fedor Pavlov, Tildwick, Pear Tree Court, Mystic Masters, and Art of Life. These ones are all safe for sure. The ones that I am going to be setting aside into purgatory and or considering to put on a chopping block is, this one is definitely getting rehomed. I know where that's going. That is the deck of Emblems, the Celtic Tarot, which is out of print, the Vintage Wisdom Tarot, and then my 2 J.D. Hildegard Hinkle decks. I am not in any hurry for these. I'm probably just going to put them away for a while and then make my decision at some other time. But I think it's time for me to at least thoughtfully consider whether somebody else could benefit from them more down the line. But again, this would be a long-term, years later decision. I'm perfectly happy to simply collect them for a while, like keep them in my collection, with an eye to the fact that I might let them go one day, but I think I need to take them out of my active sort of rotation. So that's what I think is happening with these. This one for sure I have a home for. This one I think I'm probably just ready to let go, but we'll see. I'll put it in the chopping block. Vintage Wisdom, I don't know. It might just, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I may change my mind. They're going to go, I'm going to re-review all these things at the end of this series, either on camera or off. I haven't decided yet. My plan is to maybe show some of them on camera, or to maybe show my final decisions on camera. We'll see. But that is where we sit. So let me just kind of pile everything up here and like create my little pile. Perfect. All right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me for this portion of my collection. I knew this was going to be a fairly small selection, but I appreciate your company while I went through it all. Thank you so much. As always, I have extra big thanks going out to my Unicorn Fam channel members for directly supporting my work here in such a tangible way. It makes such a huge difference. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to all of you who watch and engage with my content. It really helps and is why I do what I do. So thank you so much. And until next time, y'all, may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye.